Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Summit 2020 from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the platform where leaders, innovators, pioneers share their perspective on how to best build an economy that is resilient and regenerative by design. My name is Hugh McCann, and I lead our Strategic Partner Programme in Europe. The Foundation's strategic partners are the large organisations that we work closest with and are leading the transition to a circular economy in their industries. Big business does play a role in a number of the global challenges that we are facing, but they also play a very important role in finding solutions for better growth. And with this in mind, I am delighted to introduce our panel today. We have Ed Shepherd, Senior Manager for Sustainability and Circular Economy at Unilever, Harald Tepper, Senior Director for Sustainable Development and Circular Economy Programme Lead at Philips. We have Malin Nordin, who is Head of Circular Development at IKEA Group, and Isabelle Gubelmann-Bonneau, Head of Circular Economy at Solvay. I'm also delighted to be joined on stage here with Alice Baudreau, who is the Strategic Partner Manager for Europe at the Foundation. So Alice, why don't we get this going?
Hello everyone, I'm delighted to be here on this session on business for better growth. And hello everyone to the panel as well. Having worked closely with many of you, I know there are a lot of exciting circular economy examples to share from your businesses. So Ed, let's start with you. I'm sure there are great examples from Unilever, and Alan Jope mentioned a couple yesterday. Can you tell us more?
Yes, hello everyone. So I'm Ed and I lead on circular economy and advocacy and partnerships here at Unilever. So for those that don't know us, Unilever is a global consumer goods company and we make many of the world's favorite brands, including Dove, Magnum and Omo, and are broadly split across beauty and personal care, food and refreshment, and home care. Now, as a consumer goods company, much of the focus of our work on circular economy has been on packaging and on particular plastic. And Alice, this is just one I'd like to touch on as an example, really. We have a view to use less and for what we do use to retain the value of that material for longer. With that in mind, the transformation we're overseeing that excites me the most is the shift to reusable and refillable formats for our brands. COVID-19 has obviously brought huge disruption and loss to our society, but some of the shifts it has instigated have had knock-on effects to consumer behaviour and shopping habits, including the acceleration of e-commerce, so people shopping online, as well as so the combination of these two shifts has supported a growth in some of our reuse and and just one example I'd like to touch on. Run two brands that are available. We have Omo detergent and Quicks washing.
I think refill and reuse are a really great example of circular economy transformation. Let's go to Harald. It's been an interesting year on the circular economy and healthcare this year. So it'd be great to hear which circular economy example from Philips excites you the most.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alice. So Harald Tepper from Philips. Again, maybe a quick introduction. Philips has been moving over the past years to become a global health technology leader, really with the focus on healthy living for all, and with a key purpose to improve the lives of 3 billion people a year by 2030, and addressing healthy living in the home with our consumer care products up until being a B2B supplier of large-scale medical equipment. I think, I would almost say where to start. There's so many different ways to close the loop and so many different things that we do internally in Philips to embark upon this journey. But I think if I lift out two, one of them is really our commitment that we added 2 years ago to really offer trade-in on all our large-scale equipment. So whenever a medical machine becomes end of life or end of use in our hospitals, then we do not only engage in a new commercial discussion about the next stage, but really always offer a trade-in of the old machine, and thus taking care and taking responsibility of what happens with them at the end of their lifetime. Has been a huge program where we really have to engage with all our sales forces around the globe, really change the way also we do business with our customers and moving more and more to partnership. But also really thinking about a good triage system of when you get these equipment back, what is the best way to responsibly repurpose them. And sometimes that is really taking it back all the way to Eindhoven or Bothell, where we have our refurbishment factories, but sometimes also better for the economy and the planet to locally recycle, which in practice meant that we had to engage with local recyclers around the world to engage in contracts with recyclers that adhere to our waste policies. So that has been a great success. Second one, and maybe some of you have seen the blog of Robert Metzger, our head of sustainability, that he posted 2 weeks ago, really on the making the link between sustainability, environmental sustainability, and digital. So as many multinationals, we are moving more and more into the direction of a platform and a digital company with more than 60% of our R&D already spent on digital solutions. And where traditionally circular economy theory and discussions has been focused on hardware, we believe that digital solutions can actually be a key driver to go to a less resource dependent world. And I mean, it's a very engaging topic. It's a start of a journey, but yeah, we have put some thinking behind that. We are using that internally to really engage with our digital businesses and the employees in those businesses, and also building an external coalition to talk with other thought leaders about this. So I would also like to take this opportunity to extend an invitation to engage on this conversation with us.
Thank you, Harald. There are two great examples of circular implementation inside and outside the company. Malin, IKEA is our newest strategic partner. Can you tell us a couple of examples of circular economy practices for the many?
Yeah, thank you, Elise. And as I said, what are we excited about? Of course, we are very excited to be a strategic partner to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and very happy to be here. And I mean, as you know, IKEA, we are a global home furnishing company. And if you haven't visited us, please do. And at the same time, of course, they're referring both to Ed and Harald. There are many exciting things happening. So what to choose? And we are committed to become a circular company by 2030. So it's not that many years to work. At the same time, what is happening now, and really what I would like to put forward, is that we have done very piloting how to take back and reuse and refurbish sofas, which has been a very exciting pilot together with 3 markets where we have been taking back sofas and together with our suppliers and external partners refurbish them to condition as new, and have been able to substantially lower the prices to the customer. And now we are going into a much larger test with hundreds of sofas together with a market in Poland to really see how is the customer reaction, how are we doing together with our suppliers, redefining, refining the process and making sure that it's really being able to operate and being both profitable, lower the cost for IKEA internally, how we can solve it logistically, but at the same time also really meet the customer needs and expectations. And it's also in line with our vision to really reach many and being truly affordable. So that I'm really excited about, because it really shows also the business behind it and economy. At the same time, from a more systemic shift perspective, I'm also very excited that we have taken on to also develop and further improve our products. So we have, through our developed design principles, circular design principles, assessed the complete range, almost 10,000 articles understanding how circular are they today and how do they support being reused, refurbished, remanufactured and recycled. And by now finalizing that assessment, we have a very clear view on what we need to develop and innovate and create strong partnerships to be able to have only circular products by 2030. So I'm very excited about that.
Great, we're excited too. Isabelle, the chemistry sector is very essential for the circular economy transformation. And I know you have some great and exciting news to share about Solvay.
Thank you, Alice, and thank you all for having me here with you. First, very few words about Solvay. Solvay is one leading chemical company. And as you said, Alice, we are everywhere in your daily life, in your smartphone, in your food packaging, to protect your medical equipment, etc., etc. So it was, like my colleague said, difficult to pick one or two examples. But let me share with you one of my favorite projects, how we do contribute to the zero-emission hybrid and electrical vehicles. As you know, there is a massive shift away from combustion engines vehicles to zero-emission electric vehicles, and batteries are the core piece of it. And do you know if there is enough resources, like rare metals, to produce batteries? And what about the end-of-life batteries? What about the product? What about the resources? By 2025, one example, cobalt will be in shortage by more than 15,000 tons. Cobalt for use in battery is expected to increase by a factor of 4 in 2030 in comparison with today's levels. Yesterday, Ilham Kadri, our CEO, announced an alliance. We have partnered with a world player in waste management, Veolia, to help the automotive industry close the loop. This partnership puts two expertise together. Veolia has the know-how and infrastructure to collect, debundle mechanically, and Solvay has the expertise to collect, to separate chemically, and extract selectively metals. And our ambition here is to give a real second life to batteries. Thanks to you, thanks to the foundation, we could start this journey directly with a car producer who anticipated the value to work in a systemic approach, who saw the potential value of coupling a chemical leader and a recycling leader. And I'm very excited by this project because it is putting really in actions all the dimensions of the power of chemistry for a circular economy. The solution to address the metals resources scarcity problem, the solution to reduce the dependence on mines and to solve the societal issues of some countries, the development of a new value chain as a closed loop thanks to a systemic partnership, and a real value creation compared with the existing solution. Our solution can recover more than 95% of the precious rare metals. And I'd like also to share another example, which is totally different, which is in food. As a consumer, you, me, we all like vanilla flavor. But the demand in vanilla flavor is 20,000 tons per year. I'm sorry, but there's only 20 tons from natural vanillin beans from nature. So there is an issue. Today, Solvay produces natural vanillin using rice waste, rice husks. We take a waste and turn it into a nutrition resource. It's a circular economy, but it's not enough. So we develop new waste valorization from other cereals, sugar beets, etc. And recently, we launched a collaboration with a food company to regenerate vanillin from their food production chains. Food companies need more natural vanillin to satisfy the consumer demand in natural products, and circular economy is really a solution to building it together.
Great. Thank you for sharing these examples, which are great examples of circular implementation inside companies, but also of collaboration with an ecosystem. Now we'll talk about the broader role of companies in growth, in better growth. So we start with IKEA and Solvay. Both companies are big parts of the current linear economy, like all large organizations who are moving towards circular ambitions. How do IKEA and Solvay manage the tension between the linear legacy business and the smaller but growing circular businesses? Malin, we'll start with you. You shared great examples, for example, with the sofa refurbishment system. How is this tension managed at IKEA?
Yeah, thank you, Alice. First, of course, we are being developed into being a world-class linear company for the past 75 years. And I was, in that sense, very successful. So, of course, now in less than 10 years, we will become a circular business and a company. And I think for us, and also my key learning is that it really starts with a strong commitment, a clear direction and strategy to start with, and also commitment from leader and management as a starting point. And also what has been important for us is to understand what is the benefit of circular economy for IKEA, and really make a thorough work through our complete value chain to understand what are the opportunities and challenges when we put it in the lens of a circular economy, and thinking behind it, and what does it mean for us, and be very concrete about that, meeting all the business owners to understand the dilemmas, the challenges, but also the enormous opportunities. And I think also we have really clearly been saying that this is incorporated and part of the business. So it's not that we will have one part that is linear and one part that is circular. It's really becoming part of our everyday work and our everyday business development. So we see this transformation as part of becoming even better and stronger IKEA. And I think there it has played a very important role to be clear about why do we transform into a circular economy. And the starting point for us there is always the consumer and the behavioral change in the society, and that really becomes very strong in that transition. And I think it's also important to see, because the idea around circular economy fits very well with the IKEA vision that we want to create a better everyday life for the many people. And with the direction we have, being even more affordable, reaching more of the many, and being a sustainable company, really the circular economy is a key enabler for us to be able to do that. So I think that is one of the key in this transition. But at the same time, in whatever change that you are leading, it's also to have clear goals and measurements. So here, we have really put forward 4 strategic goals. And for instance, now as we have been able to do the assessment of our products, is because we have put clearly a goal that 2030 we want all products in IKEA to enable a circular business. We have a clear ambition and a clear goal that we want to develop a business that makes people, that they can acquire, care for, and pass on products in circular ways. So by there we are able to put tests and pilots and develop new businesses parallel to driving business today. So I think it's key in 3 things: that it's a clear commitment, clear long-term direction, goals, measurable goals and commitments, and then having a plan and follow the plan. And in that also don't forget the importance of the co-worker and the engagement of the co-worker and competence development of the co-workers in your organization.
Thank you, Malin. And thank you for highlighting also the importance of employee engagement. I know it's very important for many of you also in this panel. Isabelle, how is this tension between the linear business and the growing circular businesses managed at Solvay?
Well, for us, it's not so much a tension, but it's an evolution. And rather than a tension, we prefer to see it positively. Tension can sound a little bit negative. So we believe it's a healthy tension because it helps to do better. And Solvay, is a science-based company. There is no question. We innovate, we work to make our products durable, renewable, compostable, and recyclable. And our businesses, as Malin said, are more and more embedded circular economy into this strategy and are transitioning with our partners, our customers, to the new circular economy. Let's look at it. Solvay is engaged in circular economy in 3 dimensions. The first is the shift to renewable and recycled carbon. It was announced by Unilever yesterday, and Unilever is one of our major customers. We are the same. We are listening to our customers. We are addressing the upstream challenges, the fossil fuel-derived raw materials, by designing new products from renewable or recycled carbon, or using bio-waste, as I described for natural vanillin. It's embedded really in our business strategy and in our Solvay One Planet sustainability strategy, which has been announced this year with a very bold ambition. We aim to double our sales with renewable or recycled carbon-based products by 2030. Second, and this is really very key, we are collaborating with customers, suppliers, all along the value chain with a systemic approach to give a new life to materials by developing new chemical recycling solutions to close the loop, like the example I gave on the electrical vehicle batteries. But it's the same for you t-shirts, or the same for you meat and cheese flexible packaging. Third, we rethink our products design to make them durable, recyclable, or compostable. And we rethink our manufacturing processes to reduce or reuse our wastes. So Solvay, like the entire chemical industry, as you said, Alice, sees chemistry at the center of this transition to a circular economy, acting both ways, both as a producer of products valued by society in all value chains, and as a leader in chemical recycling processes. So are we ready to meet this challenge? Of course, as Malin said, it's a long way, it's a long term, but still, Solvay is investing a lot in developing circular economy by doing innovation with suppliers and customers. And we are driven by three criteria, three dynamics. The first is, of course, obviously the demand and supply. The second is the overall impact our circular economy can have on the value chain dynamics. And the third is by the new business models we'd like to develop with our customers and the customers of our customers, and obviously the economics of secondary versus virgin raw materials. So as I said, the dialogue with customers and suppliers all along the value chain, and I'm insisting on this all along the value chain, for us it's really key. And the collaborative relationship we used to have and we built in a linear interaction are now transforming into systemic partnerships involving multiple partners. A single industry cannot achieve circularity alone. The pace of the transition will be a challenge. We must proactively anticipate, and this can only happen thanks to the support of organizations like the Foundation Ellen MacArthur, and as well as with policymakers. And to drive this transition, we need to identify which non-renewable resources are the most critical for the planet, and focus efforts on finding alternative, viable, and competitive solutions. As Malin said, I mean, we have to also not forget the business. So we have tools to support our decisions, to shift to a circular business, to make sure the circular solution is both sustainable, but also competitive. We use a methodology that we call Sustainable Portfolio Management, or SPM. This methodology has been developed more than 10 years ago, and it's now considered as a best in class. It provides us the information permitting to invest in the right solutions to supply our customers and the society. And it enables us to demystify this tension between linear and circular.
Isabelle,
yes?
Thank you very much for this. Great insights, and I've worked closely with you over the years, so I'm delighted that we can share all this information with our audience. We do need to keep an eye on time and also give Ed and Harald a bit of a voice. So if there's anything you left out, we can pick it up towards the end of the session. But thanks very much, Isabelle. Thank you, Malin, and thank you, Alice. You definitely set the bar high in terms of the articulation of your organizations and your personal commitments to driving the transition to a circular economy. So, Ed and Harald, you won't be able to go lightly on this one. However, you're lucky because your organizations have been recognized for continuously raising ambition levels for your industry. And both of your organizations have recently come to the end of cycles of ambitious sustainability strategies with strong circular economy components. Especially in terms of the context we're facing today, how do we keep the focus? How do you and your organizations keep the focus on circular economy throughout the organization? And we'll start with Ed. And Ed, we had some audio problems earlier, so if we can't hear you, we're going to jump over to Harald. I hope you don't mind. So Ed, let's give it a go.
That's good. Thank you, Hugh. Hopefully it's a little bit clearer now, but just let me know. So yeah, I think there's 2 points I'd like to make here. The first is that, as you said, the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan was launched in 2010, and sadly, many of the problems we faced as a planet 10 years ago, from climate change to nature loss, we still face today. And in fact, we know far more about what we need to do to improve the health of the planet than we did back then. So there's a need to be much clearer on how we can address these environmental crises through the circular economy. We're seeing fantastic momentum on the issue of climate change, both with consumers and also with employees here at Unilever. This is really driving people, and it's incredibly encouraging to see the engagement on this issue, especially when you look at it within young people. So the job to be done is to link this momentum with the principles of the circular economy, and we have to illustrate that circular economy models are at the absolute heart of the solutions to fighting climate change. This will be a focus for us moving forward, both internally with our employees and also externally with consumers. And the second point I'd like to make was when the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan was launched 10 years ago, it really was quite unusual. We were one of the first global companies to set such far-reaching sustainability goals. And the good news is these types of sustainability commitments have become the norm, meaning it's far easier to build momentum both inside our company, but also when working with peers across the industry. But looking into the next 10 years, we must drive sustainability into strategy. The USLP has been a 10-year plan, and we know the job won't be complete at the end of it. So we'll continue to embed sustainability into every part of our business by combining with our business strategy through a new strategy called the Unilever Compass. Now, when sustainability becomes core to strategy, it's embedded into discussions at a business level. That's why last week, as Isabelle referenced, our home care division launched its Clean Future program, bringing circularity to our laundry detergents and cleaning products. And this means that we're going to replace 100% of the carbon derived from fossil fuels in our home care formulations with carbon from renewable and recycled sources by 2030. In order to achieve this, alongside working with others in the industry, we've got a program of carbon diversification, which we're calling the carbon rainbow. So it means shifting from black carbon derived from fossil fuels to renewable and circular sources of carbon, for example, plant-based green carbon or marine-based blue carbon. We have grey carbon recovered from waste, and also purple carbon from carbon dioxide capture. And for me, this is an excellent illustration of how the circular economy can provide solutions for climate change, reducing our dependency on fossil fuels and utilising our planet's resources far more effectively. So that's just 2 ways we aim to continue the momentum, bringing the message of circular economy as a solution to climate change, and also driving sustainability into our core business strategy.
Fantastic, Ed. And it's also shifting the focus on circular economy within Unilever from plastics to much broader.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's many programs we've been running for some time. And when you look at how we use energy within our manufacturing facilities, we're starting to really see circular economy as core to our business in many areas.
Yeah, I really liked the messaging that went out last week around Unilever being part of the problem, but also being a key role, an important part of the solution, and using circular economy to mitigate the impact of greenhouse gas emissions. So that was great to see. But Harald is up next. Harald Tepper from Philips. You have a big week ahead of you next week, Harald. I'm not sure if you can share a bit about that, but it'd be great to hear some learnings as to how you intend to bring a circular economy forward over the next number of years at Philips.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hugh. So what you're referring to is indeed our current program coming to the end, and next Monday we will launch our new targets and ambitions. And I understand your question, how do you then maintain momentum? I think to me, many of it has been said already, but it starts as just realizing it's a journey. So our program, it feels like nothing comes to an end. Obviously, as a business that you need to run, you need intermediary targets, and they need to be ambitious and big goals. But from the get-go, we knew this was a long-term journey, and so everything we have done internally over the past years, also when communicating about this program and all the ambitions, it was the journey to a learning economy, and that journey has to go on and has to maybe even accelerate and scale up. So what you will see is that. We are basically making the next step in our big ambitions, putting the ball sticks even further, extending the scope of some of our elements of our programs, but also a big sense of continuity. And so when we embarked on our Healthy People Sustainable Planet program, we really got together around three focus areas connected to the Sustainable Development Goals, goals number 3, 12, and 13, with of course health and well-being for all, connected to the core purpose of our company, but then also taking care responsibly of your planet with a climate action program and a circular economy program. That will stay there. Because, as Ed was saying, the problems of the world have not been solved yet, and maybe even worse, right? Maybe even worsened. So I think that's a big part of it. Continuously say this is a journey. I think we are helped a lot by a changing climate around us, and that I want to echo also what Ed was saying. You see a huge difference in the awareness all around us. So you see that indeed from investors, where investors are starting to ask more and more questions about how do you in concrete or in practice make shape of your ambitions. What do you do really on your long-term responsibility for society? I see the same from customers, especially in the healthcare sector, where hospitals also have their own sustainability targets and really understand that working on healthy people and a healthy planet are really two sides of the same coin. So that links very nicely with what we try to do.
Harold,
and last but not least, of course, also the employees.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, follow on with the employees. I'll get to my question afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. Now, yeah. So I think a part of this positioning as a journey, what we have been trying to do and have focused on more and more over the last year, a couple of years, and that we will drive forward further, is also really ingraining this thinking more and more into the DNA of your company. So we are far ahead of many others, as the people in the or the companies in the panel are as well. But still, so much room to grow further. And two elements of that. So first of all, really making sure that all the learnings from pilots throughout the company are really captured and are translated in our standard processes, requirements for design, etc. We are working with all of our businesses or subunits on making sustainability strategies, sustainability roadmaps, and embed that in their core strategies. And in terms of employee engagement, we are building communities of practice of people from around the world and from different disciplines, but around common problems. Because we think having a corporate story and a corporate vision on circular economy is good, and that's where it starts, but you need to go a lot deeper. For instance, what I said before around what does sustainability mean to digital solutions? What does it mean if you're a designer of the next software platform? How can you then make that tangible, and how can you contribute to the targets? We have similar discussions around what does it mean for consumables? What does it mean for digital or circular services, etc.
Yeah.
So we are really going a level deeper on engaging all of our employees around core topics and core challenges underlying our targets.
So thanks very much, Harold. It sounds like from what you're saying and what Isabelle, Malin, and Ed have said, it's about a continuous learning journey. It's not just setting the targets, about learning from the pilots, about engaging the employees, rallying the troops, getting people excited, and setting a clear vision. And I think one stakeholder that's very important to us all is the audience that we have with us here, and the audience who's going to be looking at this session in the months to come. And despite the fact that you've articulated, the vision, the ambition, and the complexity of shifting to a circular economy, we still get asked, are the large organizations that you're working with doing enough? And if you have, if someone wants to respond to that, I look forward to hearing your perspective.
Yeah, I can take that maybe as a start. Yeah, it's a good question, right? We continuously force ourselves to set ambitious goals. I think our goals are really ambitious. It's been a major challenge to get there also in the past years, but that's also what you need to do, right? We have serious problems on this planet. Yeah, if you want to be a front runner, then you also need to have big hairy goals. I think next to the goals, it remains important to really be very clear on making them tangible and measurable, right? So really working together, like we are doing also with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and with a lot of other companies and governments as well. Really coming to a common language and measure it. So you can set a nice goal, but also measure your progress against those goals. And if it turns out that some have been not ambitious enough, then you can change course. But I think that's key, to have a common language, a common way of measuring, and being really open and transparent of your progress on all those metrics.
And you, this is Isabelle. I'd like to continue on what Harald said. Since we joined the foundation, so since 2 years, at the beginning I was, quite worried, because I felt we needed to move much faster than we used to do. But since very few months, as we have defined a target, a measurable target, we have a very bold ambition, which is to double our revenues generated in the circular economy by 2030 with our products to support our customers. Our organization is moving fast. Yesterday, we made 2 announcements. The one I was talking about with Veolia on the circular economy for batteries, and another one with Mitsubishi Chemical Advanced Materials for circular business in advanced materials used for electronic devices, for example. So only these 2 examples in one day are showing that we are moving fast and we are really committed. And all employees are committed, because the target we have defined is the first one. It's not the last one. I will come back on that question. But it's also part of the bonuses of every single employee, from Ilham Kadri to every employee. So we are really committed, and I absolutely think it's very important to have everybody knowing what we're talking about, engaged, and behind the talk, and we walk the talk.
We've talked a lot about. Malin, go ahead.
If I can add to Isabelle, because that also resonates from an IKEA perspective, that we can see the areas when we are clear about the commitments, the goal, and also have a simple way on how to, we move fast. So it's to come to that quickly. And I think when it comes to do we do enough, or are we ambitious enough? I mean, from an IKEA perspective, yes. I mean, we have said we want to be a circular company and will be by 2030. I think that's extremely ambitious, moving that. What I think we can do more, and all of us, and also I think with the inspiration from Solvay, is the need of working together, setting much more partnership, because in the end, the systemic shift that needs to happen is through a lot of collaborations where what is waste for someone is actually something useful for someone else. So setting that up, I think we are not ambitious enough and can do so much more, especially us wanting to be in a more forefront and thought leader in this area.
Fantastic, Malin. Isabelle and Harald on kind of focusing in and mentioning that conversation and that topic of partnerships. I think with Unilever as our other strategic partner, we need to give Ed the floor to share a brief perspective on this topic as well. We've got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to have to wrap up a few questions after this, but Ed.
Yeah, sure. I mean, really building on Malin, I feel that this systems approach is what we need. And for businesses like ours and others across the industry, really acknowledging that these environmental issues are pre-competitive is a space that we need to move into. And that really allows for far greater collaboration and knowledge sharing across the industry. And we are seeing it happening. You know, we work with many of our peers on these critical issues. But for me, that's one key element that needs to happen. I think beyond that, what we can do is we can look towards the policy enabling environment that can support a shift to greater circularity. And one example that's very relevant to us is the issue of extended producer responsibility, which is legislation that can support infrastructure to develop to close the loop on many of the materials and packaging materials that we use. And Unilever supports well-designed EPR schemes which help the right kind of infrastructure to develop to close the loop on plastic packaging. And this is just the kind of policy that we need, that is required really to help us to meet our goals, but also to help the industry to address these environmental issues. And it requires the stakeholders to really work together to create solutions that can really deliver true environmental outcomes.
Thanks very much, Ed. And we're going to move to the questions from our audience now. And Harald, you mentioned investors when you were talking to us about the interest by investors in the transition to a circular economy. We have a question here about investment from Anthony from Dragon Rouge. And this is a question that I'm sure many of you can answer, but I thought you raised the topic, so Harald, you're in the hot seat. What level of investment is involved in moving towards a circular economy in your business?
Sorry, let me unmute. Yeah, very good question. So I think it's really around redirecting your investments, right? And making sure that more and more of your R&D budget goes into circular economy and the other environmental targets or sustainable development targets. So what we are doing, we are working together with banks and financial institutes on sustainable bonds. And last year we launched the world's first sustainable innovation bond, where we really literally said, if you invest your money into this bond, then we will put this into research money that goes to the innovations that contribute to our green products, circular products, and solutions, and now also our social sustainability goals. So that was a big credit facility that was in 3 days hugely oversubscribed. So that's why I said, okay, the amount of attention is fantastic, and that adds, of course, to more and more investment funds that are looking at in what companies do I invest with their stocks, etc. So
that's a very good point, Harald. We saw actually we're releasing our Circular Economy and Finance paper today, which your team contributed to. So thank you very much for that, and to all of you on the panel. BlackRock, our other strategic partner for finance, we worked with them on their Circular Economy Fund. Last year we provided perspective, and that fund started at $20 million. And it is close to exceeding $1 billion now, so massive increase. And if you want to find out more about our work in finance, we've done a number of interviews with people like the CFO in Intesa Sanpaolo and senior stakeholders in large banks. Alice, we've got about 6 minutes left. How do you want to play this?
We have a great question for Isabelle, I think. Isabelle, you've mentioned several collaborations and the latest news on that front from Solvay. So we have a question from Costas from Philips, who is asking about how to capitalize on the existing knowledge and learning you have on circular economy collaboration, and how to extend and increase these efforts.
Well, that's a great question, and I think one immediate answer to this question is go through the foundation. I mean, we have started already to have these regular exchanges between strategic partners, but we can, I think, easily open that, and I would be more than pleased to share our experience, but staying very modest because we are still at the beginning. And as Hugh said, I mean, I really insist on the fact that, and maybe it's easier for us because as a chemical company, we are very upstream in the value chain, and the big change, the big shift happening in circular economy is now the waste or the end-of-life products becoming our raw material. We have to connect directly with the end of the value chain, so with the brand owners, and collaboration is really key. And the example with the automotive constructor I was mentioning for the batteries was really a key success factor in that story.
So I think this is very good. Thank you very much, Isabelle. We've got about 4 minutes left, and we had a question that we put to you before the call, and this would be right in Malin's comfort zone. A number of us have spent more time in our homes than we ever imagined in the last few months. And you mentioned that IKEA wants to be a fully circular company by 2030. So the question to you four is, and highlighting again the fact that we've spoken a lot about collaboration. If we could imagine a fully circular home by 2030, what would your contributions look like, and what collaborations may have taken place to make that happen? We've got about 3.5 minutes, so some sharp, exciting answers would be fantastic.
Yeah, we will do our best, absolutely. So a circular home 2030, and just to say that the home is not only within the four walls that you're living. I think the home is in your phone and in your society, neighborhood, in your cafe and so forth. So remember that. And I think from an IKEA perspective, I mean, we hope that you have a lot of different IKEA furniture in your home, definitely, but it's not only new products. By 2030, I mean, all our products are circular, meaning that together with us, it will really be used products, supporting how you can care and repair what you already have at home. How can we support you not being wasteful and pass things on? And I think from a collaboration to really then live a circular life, and how we can support with that is also through collaborations. And I think like Ed talked about the importance of the digital collaboration. So you can always take informed decision in your home to really have a beautiful and functional home that is also a circular home, where you then take informed decisions on what to do in the circular system, and you always get connected to the closest waste handler, the closest which can support you with spare parts, the closest buyer for what you no longer want. So I think that is a key, what a circular home should look like 2030.
Fantastic, thank you, Malin. We've got 2 minutes left for the three left. Harald, you mentioned digitalization as well. That's a big part of your strategy going forward. Let's take that into the home and circular economy. You've got about 30, 40 seconds. So
30, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And let's focus on that then. I think also in times of COVID, we have seen a huge acceleration of digitalization of care, and I think that's also when I think about how will your home be different in 5 or 10 years from now, then it's much of that is around smart devices. As you see, our toothbrushes already becoming smarter and smarter, and helping you understand how you brush, how you could do it better. But obviously, going forward, these products will be connected from the home to healthcare professionals and help you get the care that you need at the right time, at the lowest cost, and as closest to you as possible.
And in the most circular way too.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Harald. Isabelle, let's. You've got 30 seconds. We'll finish up with Ed.
That's a challenge. Well, chemistry is a power. Chemistry is at the design phase of everything you are using at home. So from shampoo to kitchen utensils to fabric care, etc., etc. And we are already active through either collaborations or directly. We are active by designing new molecules to make those products natural, renewable, biodegradable. And we're also working when it's about reusing the products, we're making molecules and products to make the materials, the equipment, more durable, like we do that for health equipment, for example, healthcare equipment.
Fantastic, Isabelle. Ed, the floor is all yours. Make it count.
Yes, well, like many of you, obviously spending time at home recently, I've realized how much mess one makes at home and how much cleaning product is needed. So when you've got your Philips appliances or your IKEA kitchen, one of the ways that you could clean that in the future circular home would be with some of our cleaning brands and their refillable models, including SIP. So SIP have launched a SIP Eco Refill, which uses 75% less plastic. It allows you to lose your bottle for life, and you simply use a 10 times concentrate product to refill with water at home so you can clean your products. And we've seen great success with SIP already. It's saved over 171 tons of plastic just in the UK in the last 12 months. So in the future, we'd see this being a great way to reduce our dependence on packaging. And obviously the cleaning products themselves, the formulations, would have come through renewable and recycled sources of carbon that's used within the formulation. And we'd be working with Solvay to create some of those formulations.
Thank you, Ed. So here we have it. We have a fully circular home with smart circular medical devices and home care from Philips. We have a circular home ecosystem from IKEA. We've got circular materials from our friends at Solvay collaborating with all the different organizations. And we have smart and circular cleaning products from Unilever to keep our homes tidy. Thank you very much to all our panel. Thank you very much to Alice, and thank you very much to the audience who have tuned in for this session of Summit 2020. This is not the only session that we're having today live. There's a number coming through for the rest of the afternoon, and there's also an extensive library of incredibly interesting content on the Summit website. So we look forward to seeing you in the very near future, and I look forward to speaking to you all about how we can make this vision for 2030 a reality. Thank you very much.